Have you ever wanted to build an AI voice agent that actually answers calls, sounds human, and books appointments? But all the other videos on YouTube don't help you to get the whole system working? In today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how to build one without skipping over any of the necessary steps like setting up your logic in n8n or connecting your phone number. And before we get started, I just want to throw my pitch out there because I'm sure you're tired of hearing everyone's offers when you're just trying to build an AI voice agent. So what we do is we run the #1 community for staying relevant in AI. And we don't just cover AI voice agents, although we are releasing a full AI voice agent course in just a couple weeks. But we cover all aspects of AI in depth. When you join, you get access to beginner to expert course curriculums, our 5-coach advisory board, and unlimited tech support on calls or in our community forum. You can join by using the link down in the description below.
Thanks for calling Automate AI Consulting. This is Tanya. How can I help you?
Hey, I need to book an appointment, please.
Of course, I'd be happy to help with that. May I have your first and last name, please?
Yeah, it's Jane Smith.
Hey, Jane, could you please provide your phone number?
Yeah, it's 559-555-6789.
Thank you. May I also have your email address?
Yeah, it's jane@example.com.
Thank you, Jane. Could you provide your street address, including city and zip code?
Sure, it's 234 Example Street, Fresno 93728.
Thank you. Are there any special access instructions such as gate codes that we should know about?
Yeah, the gate code is 666.
Thank you for that information. One moment while I check our calendar. Thank you for your appointment. We have July 3rd at 8 a.m. or July 3rd at 9 a.m. available. Which works best for you?
Could we actually do July 7th?
Yes, July 7th is available. Would you prefer 8 a.m. or 10 a.m. on July 7th?
Let's do 10 a.m., please.
Great. You're booked for July 7th, 2025 at 10 a.m. If you need anything else or have questions before your appointment, just let us know.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.
Bye.
Keep in mind, if this guide saves you time in building an AI voice agent, liking the video is the best way to say thanks.
Okay, we're going to come over to Vapi and we're going to start by creating a phone number. So over here on the left-hand side, click phone number. Then you're going to click create phone number and enter your area code. If you have like a Twilio account, you can also import a number, but just to keep things simple today, we're going to use a Vapi number. Okay, so I'm just going to name this test agent so that I can remember to delete it later. And then your inbound phone number is going to be listed right here. And we're going to assign this to an assistant in just a second. Right now, the phone number is activating. So while that is going on, let's come over here to assistants and get started on building our voice agent. Okay, so you're going to click create assistant right here and give it a name. So I'm going to name mine Tanya. And I'm just going to use a blank template. So we're going to click that and then create assistant. All right, for the model, I have found that GPT-4.1 works well, but I'm going to use 4.1 mini just because it's a little bit cheaper. All right, and now we can get started on configuration. Like I said, the system prompt, I'm going to include a template down below, and this is the real system prompt that I've used for a functional voice agent, and so I know that it works. And so I'm just going to copy and paste that into our system prompt and we can go from there. Okay, so it's set to the assistant speaks first. And so this is for like inbound calls. So now I'm going to set the first message and I'm going to change this so that it identifies as Tanya, who is the office coordinator for Automate AI Consulting, which is my business. Obviously, you will want to customize this for your own business name and your own agent name. So these system instructions are pretty general, pretty vague, but you can add whatever detail that you want to make it relevant to your use case. But Tanya is able to handle inbound calls, so she can schedule appointments, she can take messages and answer general inquiries clearly and warmly. And so we're also providing her with today's date and time with the curly brackets and now expression. So this is super important. So our agent is going to know what today's date and time is so that when she is looking on our Google Calendar to search for available appointment slots, she's going to have a frame of reference for when she should be looking. So the conversation flow is going to be very basic. Quickly identify the caller's needs, ask one question at a time. My agent is going to gather specific information. So first and last name, phone number, email address, street address, any special instructions to access the property. This is assuming that we're going out on site to visit a customer's home or lead's home. And how did you hear about us? Like I said, you can customize all of these questions for your own use case. A couple things that I want to draw your attention to. So when she is checking the calendar, this is a specific tool name, this Google Calendar Check Availability tool. So just keep that in mind because we're going to be coming back to this when we're setting up tools for our agent to use. This is just giving her a script of what to say when she's checking the calendar. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to automate AI consulting. Again, change this to your own business name. And then I have mine set to 7 days max that she can check the calendar. So she's not booking an appointment out like 3 weeks from now. She's doing it within the next week. And then whatever your time zone is, you'll want to replace it here. If you don't know how to format it, ask ChatGPT. Okay, so now our assistant is going to mention that we have a few time slots available and she's going to fill in these expressions with those dates and times. So we can leave that. And again, drawing your attention to this Google Calendar tool, we're going to set that up in just a second. And she is actually going to be able to create those appointments in Google Calendar. So we're going to change this to my business name. And then depending on how long you're expecting your meetings to go for, you can make it a 30-minute meeting, 60-minute, however long you want. Then she's going to provide a confirmation. Then she has an instruction to end the call. And then at the end is when the structured data is going to get extracted from the call. So for my use case, I have the caller name, phone number, email address, their address, the appointment type, the appointment date and time, any special instructions to get on the property, the referral source, and then intent, summary, and transcript. And then at the end, she's going to immediately send all the extracted data via call data to N8n once. So this is one more tool that we're going to set up, which we're going to get into in just a sec. Okay, so next we have files, and this is going to be your agent's knowledge base. So I've created a couple that I'm going to be using for the purposes of this demo. But one tip that I do want to give you is, let's say that you work at a business and you have people calling to book appointments. You want to make sure that you're separating out all of the different kind of subtopics that somebody could be calling about. So for example, if you are a roofing company, you can have like product and service specific knowledge base. So what kind of roofs do you guys do? How long does it take? What's the cost? Do you offer financing? Like these are all the different questions that somebody might ask. And so you want to categorize those in different knowledge bases so that when your agent goes to look for the answer, it's able to do so quickly and is not getting bogged down trying to read through entire knowledge base documents where it only needs one specific topic. Okay, so I uploaded general information. I'm going to check that box so that it's enabled for this agent. And then I'm going to add scheduling appointments. And so just to give you context, scheduling appointments is like, what holidays are you not available? What times are you available for me to book an appointment? And then general information is like, what's the business website? What's the business email address? So on and so forth. And I'll be including these kind of mock knowledge base PDFs in the link down in the description. So if you want to look at those for reference, you can. But like I said, you kind of want to split out all of the different subtopics so that your AI agent is able to quickly and easily locate the information that it needs to utilize during the call. Okay, now we're going to come down to voice configuration. Now, I'm just going to use an internal Vapi voice. You can definitely connect a voice that you create via like 11 Labs or any other platform like that. But just for simplicity, I'm going to select a voice that is built into, and then I'm just going to hit publish because I don't want something to happen and then my progress isn't saved. So I went ahead and hit publish. You can do that at any time. And next, let's go ahead and dive into the tools. Okay, so we're going to be creating 3 new tools. So go up here to create tool, and then you can go over here to Google Calendar. So we're going to start by creating an event. And I don't want my tool names to be the same. And so I'm just going to append a 2 at the end. And then this is an internal description. So this is just for humans to read. It's not going to have any impact on your AI voice agent. And so this is automate AI consulting, Google Calendar create event tool. Okay, so now if we scroll down, the calendar ID is typically just the email address associated with that Google Calendar. It gets a little bit more involved if it's like a secondary calendar or like a shared calendar. But the majority of the time, it's going to just simply be the email address associated with that Google Calendar. Okay, so I'm going to add that calendar ID here. And then I'm also going to add the time zone. So for me, it's going to be America/Los Angeles. All right, and so that's all we have to do for that one. I'm going to go ahead and click save. All right, so we're going to create another Google Calendar tool. but it's going to be check availability. So I'm going to click on that, and then it's going to default to Google Calendar check availability tool. Again, I am just going to append a 2 at the end of that because I don't want it to interfere with the other calendar that I have by that name, or the other tool that I have by that name. Then I'm going to give it a description. All right, check the Automate AI Consulting Google Calendar for availability. And then once again, the calendar ID is just going to be that same email address. And then the time zone is going to be the same as before. Okay, then I'm going to click Save. All right, and then we do need to create one more tool. But before we do so, we need to set up some structured data. So we're going to come back over here to Assistants. Select your assistant, and we are going to scroll down to structured data. This prompt is also going to be available down below. This just gives you an idea of what that prompt should look like, and then you can just tweak it to your heart's content to get it specific for your use case. But I'm just going to come over to that template and copy and paste the structured data prompt, which includes a JSON example, and I'm going to paste it in here. So basically, this prompt is telling the agent what kind of data needs to be extracted from the call, and then how to format it to send it to n8n via webhook. So again, for my example, it's caller name, phone number, email, the address, appointment type, appointment date, time, the special instructions, referral source. I'm going to change this to my business name, the transcript, and then instructions. Once these fields are extracted, call the tool and then the tool name and pass those fields as parameters. So this is an example output, and I'm going to click publish just to be safe. And so basically what that entails is we're going to take all of these keys over here, all these field names, and we're just going to add them as properties and define them as strings. Okay, so I'm just going to come here and start copying and pasting these. And again, these are all strings. You might have specific data that you want to structure and output to your n8n that's a number or whatever it is. But for this example, they're all strings. So let me go ahead and run through that real quick. Okay, so I have all of those set up as properties. And just as an FYI, the max properties that you can add, so like the max structured data that you can output is 10. So just be cognizant of that when you're setting your agent up. You can't output like 30 different variables. So just bear that in mind. I'm going to click publish. Okay, so now we need to go back to tools and finish setting up that last tool, which is going to call data to n8n. So I'm going to create tool, and it's going to be custom tool, and I'm going to call this call data to n8n, and I append it with a 2, which I'm just again doing for my own purposes. And this is sending structured data to n8n via webhook. All right, and then I'm going to click tool executes asynchronously, and now scroll down to parameters, and I'm going to add the properties that I just added over in the structured data section. Okay, so now I'm going to add the property key here and then a property description just to be thorough. And I can go ahead and just head back over to the structured data section and grab those keys and descriptions from the text that I have in that box. Okay, so I'm going to just start copying and pasting everything over, and I'm going to be clicking apply to add those, and then add another property and just keep going down the list. Okay, so now I finished adding all of those. I'm going to click save just so I don't lose my progress. But there is one more thing that we need to do, and that's add the server URL, which is going to be our webhook over from n8n. Before we do that, we're going to add one HTTP header, and that is going to be content type, and the value is going to be application/JSON. Okay, I'm going to save that. So let's come over to n8n, and we're going to create a workflow, and then the trigger is going to be a webhook. All right, we need to change this to post, and then you can change your path to anything you want. I'm going to name mine demo voice agent, and we're going to want to respond using respond to webhook node. Okay, so let's add that respond to webhook right now. And you can leave the default settings, and then we're going to go ahead and click save. Okay, we're going to come back into our webhook and grab the test URL by clicking here. And then we're going to go back over to Vapi, and we're going to add that webhook URL into the server URL box here. Okay, we don't need to worry about the secret token. We're just going to leave this as is, and now we're going to click save. And one thing that I'm going to do really quickly is go back over to assistants, and I just want to make sure in my structured data that I am just updating the name of the tool that I am instructing my agent to call. So I want to append the tool name called data to n8n with a 2 at the end, and then I need to scroll up to the system prompt and do the same with the other tools that are mentioned in that prompt. Okay, so that's the Google Google Calendar check availability tool, just going to add it. And then also the create booking tool as well. And then I also need to add a 2 to the end of this tool name, and now I can click publish. All right, so now we want to come down here to messaging. Just for the sake of thoroughness, we're going to also add our server URL, which is again just this test link from our n8n instance, but we're going to paste that in here as well, just so that it's within the assistant, but also within the tool that the assistant's going to be using to transfer that data or send that data in the JSON payload. But something important that we need to do is disable server messages that we don't need. So you will learn this the hard way if you fail to do this. Basically, what will happen is you'll get like 50 different payloads being sent to your webhook, which is going to jack up your n8n costs. So this is like super important to do. We don't care about conversation update. We don't care about function call. We don't care about any of this stuff. All we care about is the end of call report. So I'm going to come in here and just unclick all of these. We don't care about any of this stuff. Like, can you use this? Absolutely. Are we going to use it right now? No. And we don't need to worry about the client SDKs right now, so just ignore that. Okay, and now we are going to click publish. Now we're going to connect the phone number that we created at the beginning of this to our voice agent that we have now set up. So I've clicked on the number that I just set up, and I'm actually going to name this Tanya now that I have a name for her. And I want to click this assistant dropdown and assign it to Tanya. And so now if I call this number, I'm going to be able to converse with my voice agent and see how she does, which we're going to be doing momentarily. Okay, so before we call Tanya, so you can see how the data gets over to n8n, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and let's go ahead and dive into the n8n setup. So one last step that we need to take is come over here to Tools under the Assistance tab, and we need to select the tools that we want to use. So that's going to be the Call Data to n8n2, Google Calendar Check Availability Tool 2, and Google Calendar Tool 2. Okay, now we'll hit Publish, and let's give it a call and try her out. And one last step that we need to take is go over here to your settings, go to integrations. We're going to scroll down to Google Calendar. I have mine already connected, but you would just click the connect button and then connect it to the appropriate Gmail account that you're going to be using for the Google Calendar connection to your agent. Okay, now let's give it a try and see how she does.
Thanks for calling Automate AI Consulting. This is Tanya. How can I help you?
Hi, could I schedule an appointment?
Of course, I can help you schedule an appointment. May I have your first and last name, please?
Yeah, Lindsay Gonzalez.
Thank you, Lindsay. Could you please provide your phone number?
It's 559-555-1234.
Thank you. May I also have your email address?
Lindsay@example.com.
Great, thank you. Could you provide your street address, including city and zip code?
Yeah, it's 1234 Example Road, Fresno 93728.
Thank you. Are there any special access instructions such as gate code?
Yeah, gate code is 1234.
One moment while I check our calendar. Thank you. For your appointment, we have July 3rd at 8 a.m. or July 3rd at 9 a.m. available. Which works best for you?
Could you check and see if we could actually do July 7th instead?
Certainly. Let me check availability for July 7th. One moment, please. We do have availability on July 7th for your appointment. We have July 7th at 8 a.m. or July 7th at 9 a.m. available. Which works best for you?
Let's do the 9 a.m. slot.
You're booked for July 7th, 2025 at 9 a.m. Is there anything else I can assist you with today?
No, thank you very much. You've been very helpful and I appreciate you.
You're very welcome. I appreciate your kind words. Have a wonderful day.
Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Okay, so now I had to run over to n8n and click the test event trigger button, basically to make sure that we are catching that end of call report. So we're waiting for that to come into our test URL right now. And it does take, I don't know, 10, 20 seconds sometimes. So we're just going to keep an eye on it, wait for it to hit. Okay, so it successfully hit my webhook and it responded to the webhook. So let's see what we got in here by double clicking. All right, and so now we have a bunch of data that came in. And this is actually good that this isn't working out perfectly. So I now remember that I actually have to set it up a little bit differently because the structured data doesn't always come through in the end of call report. So we're going to make a couple changes real quick. First, we're going to use the production URL. So we're going to come in here and copy this and then come back over to Vapi. And we're going to scroll all the way down to messaging, and we're going to replace our existing server URL, which was the test one, with the production value and hit publish. Okay, then I'm going to come over to my tools and select my call data to n8n2 tool. And then I'm going to do the same for the server settings here where I'm going to change it to the production value. And the reason for this is that there are actually 2 responses that are going to come through on the webhook. And to be completely honest, I haven't completely figured out how to fix this yet, but I'm going to show you the workaround. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this to active, and we're going to give Tanya a call again so you can see both of the executions that are going to come through.
Thanks for calling Automate AI Consulting. This is Tanya. How can I help you?
Hi, I'd like to book an appointment.
Of course, I can help you with that. May I have your first and last name, please?
Yeah, it's Lindsay Gonzalez.
Thank you, Lindsay. Could you please provide your phone number?
559-555-1234.
Thank you. May I also have your email address?
Lindsay@example.com.
Thank you. Could you provide your street address, including city and zip code?
1234 Example Road, Fresno 93728.
Thank you. Are there any special access instructions such as gate code that we should know about?
Gate code 1234.
Thank you. One moment while I check our calendar. Thank you. For your appointment, we have July 4 at 8 a.m. or July 4 at 9 a.m. available. Which works best for you?
Let's do July 4th at 9 a.m., please.
Great. You're booked for July 4th, 2025 at 9 a.m. Is there anything else I can help you with today?
No, that's it. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Have a great day. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Okay, so the call just ended, and we're going to wait for the production executions to come through so I can show you exactly how we're going to troubleshoot this next step with the structured data not coming through. Right. So here we see 2 executions that came through, or actually 3. So one of these is going to contain our structured data. So let's see if it is this one. Okay, perfect. So this is the one that contains our structured data. And then, like I said, sometimes it comes in the end of call report, and sometimes it comes in one of these other webhooks. But let me go ahead and let's start building out the n8n workflow so you can see how to work around that little snag. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to add a code node, and we're going to basically what this code is doing is looking for that structured data and just identifying that so that we are making sure we're passing that on to the next step in our workflow. And what I'm going to do is go back to my executions, and I'm going to pin that data so that we can use it for mapping this workflow out. Okay, so I'm going to click copy to editor, and then let's run it through this code. All right, cool. All right, next we're going to add an if node. And basically we only want to pass on the data where it's the structured data coming from one of the webhook payloads. So we're going to use this expression. So the JSON has structured data, and then we are going to change it to Boolean exists. And let's test that out. Okay, so that came through as true, which is what we want, and that's because this has the structured data. All right, now we're going to add an HTTP node. We're going to make a GET request, and basically we are looking to just grab the call ID from the call that we just took. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this so you can see how I'm mapping it. But if we come over here to webhook, it's going to be this call ID right here. All right. And then we're going to send headers, and we need to add our API key. So this is going to be authorization, and the value is going to be our API key. So let's go back over to Vapi. Then you'll go over here to Vapi API keys, and then you can just copy your key that you have set up. And then you're going to type bearer and paste your API key. Okay, let's execute that step. Cool. And that's just going to provide like the recording and some other stuff that we're going to use for the purposes of this demo. All right, and now we need to set up an Airtable base. So let's head over to Airtable. Okay, and I'm going to start from scratch and call this inbound calls. Now, basically, I want to take the structured data that we set up in Vapi and recreate that here in Airtable. And I'm just setting these all up as a single line text, except for the transcript and then the call recording URL. That's going to be a URL, but everything else I'm just taking directly from the structured data and turning that into single line text in Airtable. All right, so we've got all that structured data in there, and then I'm going to add one more header. It's going to be a URL, and that's going to be the call recording. All right, and okay, before I head back over to n8n, I'm going to grab my personal access token. So looks like Airtable has changed their interface a bit. We're going to go down here, go to Builder Hub, create new token. I'm going to call this voice agent test. We're going to add data records read, data records write, and schema bases read. And then I'm going to add a base, and it's just going to be my n8n test. Now I'm going to create the token, copy this, and I'm going to head back over to n8n. So I'm going to add an Airtable node, and I want to create a record. So every time the phone rings, I want to create a new record, and I'm going to create a new credential. I'm going to name this voice agent test. So I remembered not to use this. And then for my access token, I'm going to go ahead and paste what I just copied from Airtable. We already made sure that we added these scopes, so I'm good to hit save. Okay, so that was successful. Okay, and then we wanted to select the base and the list called inbound calls, which is right down here. Okay, and now we want to just drag and drop the values that we want to send. So because it's right here, let's start with the transcript. So we'll drag that over and then scroll down and grab the recording URL so that we could listen to the call recording if we are so inclined. Okay, now we can close that HTTP request and go back to webhook. And now we're going to map the rest of the structured data that came through. Okay, so caller name, caller email, and we're just going to go down the list with these. Okay, so we have all of that mapped. Now let's go ahead and execute that step. Okay, so it went ahead and created a record for us. So if we go back over to our Airtable base, we can see there is our call. So now if somebody wanted to come over here and listen to the call recording or get notes before the appointment, they could do so. Okay, so now we click save and that is it. Like that is how you build an AI voice agent using Vapi, n8n, and Airtable.
And I'm genuinely curious, what do you find to be the most challenging part about building an AI voice agent? So please drop a comment below and let me know. Now you know how to build a fully functional AI voice agent that can take calls, answer questions, and book appointments. And remember to check out the AI Foundations community at the link below to get full access to the upcoming AI voice agents course that's dropping in just a couple weeks. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.